Hello, my crafty friend. La 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 la. Hey everybody, it's Tiffany. Welcome to the Get Organized Challenge number 7. We're going to talk about mementos and project planning and all that good stuff this morning. Thank you for sticking around. I know we're late getting started. So Susie, how are our eyeballs looking?
They're coming on.
The eyeballs are coming. Mana mana dee 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 dee. Mana mana dee 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 dee. You guys, you can't see this, and Susie probably doesn't know she's doing that, but I'm singing mana mana, and she's going.
Oh. Oh,
It's contagious.
Oh.
You can't escape the phenomena. All right, everybody. So thank you for being here. I know that we are late today, and I apologize for that. I tried to put up a couple posts letting people know we had an HSN show. We just finished, switched over all the computer gear, and here we are. Okay, quickly, I'm going to answer the questions from last week, the stuff I said I would follow up on and give you a little bit of information about what's going on. And then other questions throughout the class today. If you ask a question that's not related to what we're actually talking about in the GOC, Susie's going to try and hold all those questions, and then I'll talk about them at the very end so that people who are here to get the GOC info don't have to stick around for other stuff, if that makes sense. First thing, you keep asking me about expansion bases. They will be part of the warehouse sale on Saturday, right? So National Scrapbook Day, big Totally Tiffany U.S. warehouse sale, just like the one we had in January. You will have opportunity to get smoking deals on great stuff, only out of the U.S. warehouse though. So there's some rules around that, and I apologize for the UK people. You won't be able to do that. But whoever has been waiting for the expansion bases, we don't actually have the expansion base. It will be a travel base with wings, so that's a bonus. I'll talk more about that on Saturday, but I wanted to let you know that's coming up. Kathy Knight asked if the slimline storage would be available on our websites, and I said, I don't think so, and that is confirmed. It will not be available on Totally Tiffany or Crafter's Companion. It is sold out at scrapbook.com, but you will be able to get it from Stephanie Bernard next week at the Stamps of Life. It is a $10 Tuesday. The paper storage boxes, 8x8 paper taker, hot glue gun holder, and the 9x11 rotating design board, all on special today on $10 Tuesday, so don't miss out on those. I think that's it. So let's jump in and get started. So this week we are talking about getting organized, getting our mementos and organized, and then actually putting some projects together, right? So what are we going to do? You already know this. We are going to work through our boxes of mementos in the same way we've kind of worked through photos. And you will find a link to this. It comes in portrait and landscape. So depending on what style of storage you're using, you could choose one or the other. But this is just a little guide that says what the date, time, place, who was there, so that you can pack that up, store that with your mementos. There's also a note line on here for where are the photos? Are they on the computer? Have they been printed? All of that stuff. So this is just a free download off the Get Organized Challenge page on the website. If you go to Challenge Resources and Challenge number 7, these things will all be there. Then there's also a new grid there that is for laying out an album and doing multiple albums, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, but that is also available as a download. This one has a coupon code on it, but it's from last year. So if you see that on yours, I think it's left over from when we launched this, so I apologize for that. It probably won't work. The coupon code probably won't work. So first thing you want to do when you're organizing your mementos is choose a way that you're going to store them. There are all kinds of options, right? You can use file folders. You can use big Ziploc bags. You can use big manila envelopes, something like this. You can use the pizza boxes that you emptied out of all the things you had stored in them from scrapbooking as you got your scrapbooking supplies organized. Any one of those tools is going to work well for you. The 8.5 by 11 and the 12 by 12 fab file are two of my favorites, just because they keep everything sort of locked down, dust-free, light-free, all of that stuff. So if you're looking for a particular tool, for organizing those mementos by year or by event. I would totally recommend those. Scrap rack pages and a binder, a notebook also work well if you want to do that. The big thing you want to do is just by date, link photos using you can either print these sheets and pack them in with the mementos, or you can just put your own notes on there. But the goal is to get all of those mementos organized chronologically so that you can, when you're ready to do a project, you can go and grab exactly what you need. So, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? You're also going to use your family timeline notebook or the family timeline on your wall or whatever it is, and you can fill in more details there as you're working through, like, you know, so this is when Matt Lennon got his driver's license, right? So when I come across any of those initial stuff from that, I know I can find the date in here and mark that down. So you want to have your family timeline available so that you really can coordinate all that information and get everything packed up. So that's your first goal, is to choose what you're going to organize your mementos in. And then I'm going to take a deep breath because I'm kind of still in HSN mode where I talk really fast. And then you're going to sort and label those chronologically. So whatever storage tool you want to use, you want to make sure you have enough space to keep those things labeled chronologically. Why aren't we storing our photos and our mementos together? For most of us, that doesn't work for two reasons. One, obviously, is that a lot of our photos are digital. And so, of course, unless you're going to only scrap digitally and scan in all your mementos and then put them in the folder with your photos, which you could do if you're a digital scrapbooker, you need to have somewhere that you can keep those. You're going to go in and label the photos also that you do have mementos and where they are as part of this exercise. And that way, when you pull up the photos, you can go right to the mementos, or if you pull up the mementos, there's a note on those right where the photos are too, so that things come together really easily. You know, it's very frustrating if you complete a project and then find mementos somewhere else or photos somewhere else or something like that. So this is a way to connect those things together so that when you're ready to actually do that project, you can hop on your computer or pull out your mementos and make that connection. So you're going to sort and label them, and of course include those details that the guide sheets are going to give you. Then you're going to store things chronologically. The next step is more as you're ready to get into that project. What are you going to do? How are you going to organize yourself for the project? And so what I like to use is just a binder from a 3-ring spinder, right? This is part of the scrap rack system, as are the dividers and the pocket pages that I'm going to use. Oh, and I will tell you something else. Coming up on Saturday in the warehouse clearance sale, we do have the 12 by 12 binders with and without this binder. There are, so that was probably confusing. Why would you want a binder with no 3-ring section? For those of you who use a scrap rack and need to have so much stuff you can't store it on your scrap rack, or you prefer to store things you're not using off your scrap rack, you would pull the binder off your scrap rack and zip it into that binder. So that is what the binders are for that have no binder. They just have the Velcro on the inside. They're for managing your scrap rack, and also with traveling. If you want to travel with just 1 or 2, you can take 1 or 2 of those binders. The exact same with the 3-ring section in it. Also going to be special on Saturday. And that's a great place to create your holding album or project planner, right? So that you can put everything together inside that zipper binder by project and get everything sorted and organized. So how to do it? For me, I found that the best way to do that, I got all my little things here, is to use the 4x6 pages. It's called the Perfect 6. Each one of these pockets is going to be a layout. So one 12 by 12 layout. So each pocket will hold up to 6 photos. And as I laid these out, so you can see there's little notes left in there about who they were for, what part. This was a road trip album that I did. And when the pockets are empty, I know that I have scrapped that particular event in its entirety, right? So why is that important? That's important because behind the pockets of here, this one's probably better. Behind the pockets of photos, I also have the pockets of mementos. So I know if I finish the photos and I still have mementos left, that I don't need them, right? So some people, this is going to give you a stomach ache. You can just toss them out. If you didn't use them in the scrapbook and you don't need them, you can just toss them out. Or you can add this pocket page to your scrapbook or something similar to that, and put those extra mementos right in there so that as you're going through your scrapbook, you can pull those mementos out and look at them. But one of the biggest things for me is I pick up multiples of everything, right? I did when my kids were little, not so much anymore, because I'm doing an album for London, an album for Max, and a family album. I'm going to back up on that in just a minute also. And so I got extra things. I didn't use all those things. So this was a way of reminding myself it's okay to let those things go. Everything's done for that page or for that event, for that particular thing. So then the question is, as you're going through here, this is the memento. So this is also a scrap rack page, and it is called the double-sided duo 4x1. 4 pockets on the front, 1 big 12x12 pocket on the back. So this is a great way to organize those mementos and then put them into your project planner in order of each different type of event. So again, it's just a scrap rack page. There are also other ways to coordinate your project planning. So this is a Scrap Master, and congratulations to those of you who got the smoking deal on the Scrap Master on HSN today. I know that's sold out now, but this is a great tool for organizing those mementos also by event, right? Holiday event, whatever it is. So you have all of your mementos together, but the pockets are also big enough to hold your photos. So it's a great way to plan it out. One of the questions I regularly get as we're talking about project planning is, should I put my materials that I'm going to use, the paper, the stickers, the embellishments, all of those things, into my project planner? And I'm going to say, usually not. Okay. The only time, so you have set yourself up through this challenge to have all the things that go together, contained together, so that when you need something, you can find it, right? What you don't want to do is spend all of your time going through your scrap rack or whatever tool you decided to use, and pulling onesie twosie things out and putting them in here, so that when you're done, you got to put them back if you didn't use them. And when you're working on your project, you are most likely still going to be sitting next to your scrap rack, flipping through things and looking for things and at things, right? So pulling all those things out is not a necessary step. The other thing that's going to happen is if you put them in here and you're working on another project, you may not see that particular, well, it would have been perfect for that other project. So I would not recommend doing that, unless, there's always an unless, right? There's always one more thing. It is something that is 100% unique to that event. So, oh, I forgot about this. I'll talk about that in a minute. This is all SeaWorld stuff, okay? The only time I'm ever going to use this stuff is when I am working on this SeaWorld album. When I am done with the SeaWorld album, this stuff is going to go in my donate bin. I might pass it on to a friend who'd been to SeaWorld, but I'm not going to keep it because I'm not going to use it again. I will be finished with SeaWorld. Now, some of you are thinking, what if you go to SeaWorld again? Right? That's probably never going to happen for me because of some other things. But the main thing is, I don't have, my kids are all grown up. And yes, they may have kids. And as a grandparent, I may go to SeaWorld, but then I'm probably going to want to buy the newest stuff, right? The coolest SeaWorld stuff. It's going to look different. The colors might be different, all of those things. So I'm not going to hang on to this into perpetuity just in case maybe I might go to SeaWorld another time, right? Because part of what I love about this is shopping, and I'm going to want to buy new stuff that matches that trip. Okay. So, but if you go to SeaWorld all the time, totally different. You probably are going to have a SeaWorld section in your scrap rack with your amusement park. So you've got your Disney stuff, SeaWorld, wherever else. What is the other one? Universal Studios, those types of things. If you go regularly or you have kids that age where you're more likely to go. So try to think more about love it or lose it. Are you going to use it? Right? As you're sorting through things and as you're finishing up projects. And I think we talked a little bit about this during Purge, when we were talking about the Purge stuff. One of the great things you could do about this is leave it in this 12 by 12 pocket page that has all the leftover bits in it. And when you're at a crafting event and you walk around and see what people are working on, if you see somebody working on SeaWorld, you could pass that on to them and then they can use what they want and do the same thing to the next person. So you feel like you're getting some use of it. But I would not recommend pulling everything out and putting it into your project planner. I would recommend sitting next to your supplies and using this to do your layouts, right? So keeps everything in line. Now, this is some specialty paper that, again, was bought specifically for this trip to India. So I did include that in there with the India trip because it all says India, this, that, the other thing, and those motifs. So they're all in there. That is where I'm going to use those. But it's not going to be used anywhere else. So kind of the same concept, right? This particular setup is done in like segments of the road trip. I used this planning grid, which you have a to know whose album, how many pictures I need, how many pages I'm going to do. Why do you want to plan out how many pages you're going to do, or at least have a good idea of it? The first thing is you want the story to continually move forward. So you want to make sure that each page in your scrapbook is something that's interesting and that it's going to hold people's interest. So as you're sharing those, everybody's learning the story instead of just looking at page after page of pictures, right? So when you lay it out that way, in this case, the road trip, Disneyland in particular, getting there, the characters, the rides, the hotel, food, like main topics. And that's kind of how I set up that portion of the album. And this kept me focused on who had the characters pages done, London Mac's mom, who had the, getting their pages, London Mac's mom, how many pages were they going to be? And it really helps you to kind of get your brain around the project. But it also really helps you when you're purchasing things like background paper. So if you have a good idea that you're going to do 12 double page layouts and you know what kind of color scheme you want to get, or you want to use Disney paper in terms of all of those, then you have a good idea of how many sheets of paper you need to buy, plus a few extra in case you make a mistake. We all do that. But that way you buy enough to do the project so that you're not trying to run back to the scrapbook store or go back online when you bought 20 sheets and then you ended up doing 30 pages. You go back online or into the store and they don't have that anymore. So it really helps you sort of not only plan out what that album's going to look like, but also is going to help you plan the purchases around that album, make sure you get what you need so that you don't end up short with something. There is also a printable of this. So this is just a little layout page where you can sketch out your layouts. And then do you have the embellishments that you need? Check, check, check. Just kind of a way to focus, especially if you're taking a project with you when you're going to a crop or event of some sort. Really kind of just helps you focus that in. So that is also available as a download. I do leave a few pockets, empty pockets in the back of each section. And that way, as I've completed those pages, I can put them into those empty pockets. And when I'm ready to put the whole album together, it gives me an opportunity to line everything up before I start putting it in the sleeves so that I don't put everything in and then have to take everything out to realign things or whatever. So I put all the finished projects or pages in one pocket in each section, and then I'm going to put the whole album together. So next question that I regularly get is, should I do this for all my photos? No. Do one, maybe two, depending on what you're working on. Maybe you have two projects going, or you're just wrapping up one project and you want to start getting ready for another one. Again, you want to keep everything in chronological order. You want to make it easily accessible. What you don't want to do is get 15 projects going and then get overwhelmed and not get any of them done, or not remember what went where, or how much of this, where are those pictures, or where are those mementos. So I would strongly recommend that your project plan is just your current project, maybe a second project if you've got kind of two things going on at the same time. All right. There are lots of different pockets for storing things too. So this is our project planner page. I think if these are available in the US warehouse, which I'm not sure they are, they will be on special on Saturday also, because all the scrap rack pages are. So project planner pages gusset out on the side, so you can put tons of stuff in there. You can see a bunch of mementos in there. And then they have this big 12 by 12 pocket in the center. So you can put large things in the back. This is from the road trip I did with Park last, I guess it was a year ago this time. And I actually took this with me in the car. Well, that isn't exactly true. I started stuffing things in the car door and wished I had had this with me as things blow away when you open the car door. So this is a great thing to travel with. Just one of these, throw it in your suitcase. And as you're collecting mementos, you can just put them in the pockets and everything stays neat and tidy and somewhat organized. And then when you get home, you can sort it into your project planner when you're ready to do that. But it's kind of one-step storage if you bring one of these pages with you, the project planner pages. All right. Okay, Susie, anything that's project related before I start going through the assignments for this week?
Not project related.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the assignments for this week. If you have a question related to this GOC, the project planning memento organization, feel free to pop that in now with the word question. And then if it pops up, we'll answer it. Otherwise, we will jump on to the other questions. So your goal this week is to sort your memorabilia into a filing or storage system. Create an incoming memorabilia, number one. Number two, create an incoming memento or memorabilia organization station. And I wanted to bring something up. Barb Carlson mentioned that the new store and clip, which we just had on HSN, that she is going to set that up for her incoming cataloging, incoming product station, so that whenever she gets something new, a die, a stamp, something like that, she knows where everything is to add it to her catalog. You could probably set up your memento stuff as well, label tabs, printed copies of, your guide for putting your multiple albums together. And I said I was going to backtrack on that, and then I forgot, but I will right now. And then also your memento info sheet that's going to go with the mementos. All those things could be stored in something like the store and clip with your cataloging supplies, so that everything, when you start doing that kind of work, is together in one place. I have two sons. So I started an album for London and an album for Max and then an album for me. So 3 sets of albums, which sounded like a great idea at the time. Years later, I realized they were all pretty similar. Obviously, London's is more London focused. Max's is more Max focused. And I realized years later that somebody is going to get also my albums. And I know this is like, for some people, again, a stomachache. Why are they going to want mine when they have their own that kind of chronicle their lives in the same way? So personally, for me, in hindsight, what I would have done was do 2 sets of albums, one more London focused, one more Max focused, and then include all the family stuff, so that when I go, they will have their albums with the complete family story in them. And I won't have this 3rd set of albums that possibly no one will want because they have their own. So just something to think about if you're considering doing albums for multiple people. What is going to happen to your family set of albums? Okay. Label your mementos with the location of the coordinating pictures. That's going to be in the journaling notes. Add notes to your family timeline as you discover those mementos, like that you have them and where they are. So if you're using this as a reference, you're going to be able to go back and find those things. I really would recommend creating an online journal on your phone. That's just kind of a diary of people, places, things. That's really kind of short, bullet pointy, because it's going to make keeping up with your family timeline easier and have more details if you're doing that. And if you're not doing that, it is going to be a lightweight substitute for the family timeline. Start a project planner for your next or current scrapbook project. If you're still sorting photos, sort one container of photos. If you're still sorting other things, embellishments, working on your cataloging, go through another container of those to kind of round out those different challenges. If you're still sorting paper, and who isn't, another 4 inches of paper should get you close to finishing up there. And then, of course, you want to post your progress on the Facebook group or send us an email, and then enjoy your reward. Progress posts net out. Why should you do that? One, when you go public, it helps you stay focused and you're able to motivate, inspire other people. But right here, right now, we do give away a prize every week. And this week the prize is going to Beverly Jordan. And she's got a progress post up that says, getting more and more accomplished while making this catalog of products. Throughout many of my pens, and not, she says, buying replacements. So it's amazing when you start going through those things, like how much you discover doesn't work anymore. They're all dried up. She did comment that the Creative Memories pens had lasted and were still working very well after, I think, 20 years. Her final comment, though, slow and steady wins the race. I think that's awesome. Just keep focused and keep working one step at a time, and eventually you will get there. Okay, so Beverly Jordan, in order to collect your prize, you need to email prizes@crafterscompanion.com. That's prizes@crafterscompanion.com. I think that wraps it up for today.
Questions?
Yep, Susie's going to throw some more questions at me. So if you had a question.
First of all, Dana Walter Hill said, this is funny, I would get me caught up if I quit ordering new and fabulous paper.
So I don't know if you can hear Susie, but Dana said she would be caught up if she stopped ordering paper. But that's the addiction, I think, right?
Okay, Barbara Carlson wants to know, will there be a list to download for Saturday? I find this helpful. And a few other people said they find this helpful too.
Yes, I just got the list today. Woo, woo. So I will put it together and add those little columns so you can make notes or check off what you bought or how many you need, just like I did last time. Yes, that will be probably up. If I don't get it done today, it'll be tomorrow.
All right. Brittany Hines wants to know, she said she ordered from Totally Tiffany on April 12th and still has not received her order. How long should it take?
Brittany Hines wants to know why her order has been 3.5 weeks. I don't know. I don't know where you are or where that order was filled. I don't know any of those details, but Leanne, customer service at totally-tiffany.com. She's a specialist on solving those kinds of problems. So normally just the regular customer service email at Crafters Companion can get you information. But if you feel like you're not getting what you need or you have deeper questions, get them over to customer service at totally-tiffany.com. This is a perfect example, and Leanne will do her very best to research your order and let you know exactly what's going on and when you're going to get it. But that does seem like a long time.
Bonnie Block wants to know, has the Memento Keeper been retired/discontinued?
Bonnie, hi Bon. I don't know if it's been discontinued. If they are not currently available on either HSN, well, and they might be available at scrapbook.com. I recently saw them somewhere. Just because we don't have them on our website doesn't mean that they're not available somewhere else. So I would look on scrapbook.com and see if they've got them, or hsn.com. I don't think HSN has it. That would be my last resort, but I will check scrapbook.com if they're not on our website. Is that it?
That's it.
Woo! I should say what Bonnie's talking about are these big binders, right? Project Planner, Memento Keeper binders, which is a great place to store everything and start prepping up. Same kind of idea as this, but in a binder with a permanent 3-ring section in it. So I've got those big project planner pages in there. And then in the back here, I've even got some pockets that are labeled with different stuff. But this is what she's talking about. Works really great, is reusable, but also kind of a fan favorite for people who don't put all their mementos in their scrapbook. And then they can use one of these for all the mementos and just park it on the shelf next to the scrapbook. So 2 ways to use that bad boy right there. All right, I think that's it, right? Are we wrapping up? Mana, mana, beep, 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 beep. All right, everybody, thanks so much for your patience while I was late to class today. I will see all of you next Tuesday when we talk about traveling with your supplies, and that is the Get Organized Challenge wrap-up challenge for this 2022 challenge number 1. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see all of you next week.